Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Miss Pat. My name is Nguyễn Tường, and today I'm really glad to present Chapter 3, Sensory Principle for Vision. By the end of the chapter, we are expected to understand not only how the human visual system works, but also how vision influences consumer behavior across culture. More importantly, we will learn how companies apply visual stimuli in real marketing practices and evaluate both the benefit and limitation of relying heavily on the visual element. Moving to the introduction and why vision matter in the sensory marketing. Vision is usually the first sense consumers rely on when they encounter a brand, a product, or a service environment. Humans rely heavily on sight to understand the world around them, and this also applies to how brand, product, and service environment are experienced. In marketing, vision is not only about visual attractiveness. Elements such as color, design, lighting, and layout allow brands to communicate their identity, emotion, and value almost instantly. So as a result, what consumers see strongly influence what they feel, think, and buy. Take Starbucks as an example, showing how vision shaped the customer experience before any other sense. Before customer taste or smell the coffee, visual cues create the first impression. Elements such as warm lining, earthy color, wooden furniture, and a cozy layout immediately position Starbucks as more than just a coffee shop. It becomes a comfortable lifestyle and social space. These visual elements invoke the emotion like comfort, relaxation, and familiarity, while also signaling quality and professionalism. As a result, customers are more willing to stay longer and accept the premium prices. In this case, visual design plays a central role in shaping the Starbucks brand experience. Now we dive into the section number 3.1, the human eyes and vision. Vision is the dominant human sense in how people perceive the brand, product, and service environment. As Krishna explained, the visual cue strongly shapes the consumer behavior, especially at the moment of consumption and purchase, when decisions are made quickly or often subconsciously. There is also strong evidence of visual dominance. For example, 4 out of 10 Swedish women can recall seeing fashion advertisements from H&M. This shows that visual exposure alone can create a brand awareness, even without direct interaction with the brand. And the key takeaway is that what consumers see play a critical role in forming the impression, guiding attention, and influencing their purchase decision. Next, we move to how this dominance is amplified in the digital and social media era. In today's global consumption culture, people are exposed to digital photo, video, online advertisement, and social media platform. This visual format dominate how brands communicate and how consumers process the information. As a result, vision become even more influential in shaping attention and perception. A clear example of visual social media consumption is Instagram. On Instagram, those posts that contain image receive significantly higher engagement and recall than the text-only post. And in fact, visual social media content can increase the brand recognition by over 40% compared to the non-visual format. In this section, 3.2 characteristic of vision, we focus on the physiological aspect of vision, specifically visual perception. Vision is the most powerful human sense, delivering around 70% of sensory information to the brain, and this makes vision the dominant driver of how people perceive the brand, product, and service environment. Visual perception is not just about a seeing object, but about how the brain organizes visual information to create a meaning. And this process happens automatically and strongly influence the judgment, decision making, and behavior. A clear example is the Nike swoosh. So although the logo is extremely simple with no text or product show, is immediately communicate movement, speed, and performance. This works because the design is easy to process, strongly stored in the visual memory, and rely on the gestalt completion, allowing the brand to feel the meaning of minimal information. And next is about the sensory organ. The most important sensory organ of the human body is the eyes. As nearly two-thirds of all sensory cells are located there, vision is therefore the main channel through which information reaches the brain. And when the light enters the eye, the pupil regulates the amount of light, while the cornea and lens refract it to form an image on the retina. And retina sensor then convert this light into a signal that are sent through the optic nerve to the visual cortex, where the image is interpreted. And the eye is also often compared to a camera. The pupil works like an aperture, and the cornea and lens like camera lenses, and the retina like the film or a sensor. Each visual image is unique because it is always connected to the past visual experiences. And finally, visual perception works best when combined with the other senses, showing that sensory experience are strongly when multiple with the sense interact. And what about the psychological aspect? This session focuses on the psychological aspect of vision, which include both affective and cognitive responses. First, visual strongly trigger affective responses or emotional reaction. When consumers are exposed to visual stimuli, emotions are immediately activated. These emotions are often transferred from the advertisement or visual design directly to the brain. As a result, positive emotions such as joy, warmth, and excitement lead to more positive brain attitude. At the same time, visual also generate the cognitive responses. Visual cues help consumers understand the product attribute, evaluate quality and value, and eventually form the purchase intention. An important insight is that emotion and cognition uh, do not work separately. They occur to influence each other, and in many cases, design and aesthetic outweigh the poor functionality, meaning that how a product looks can be more vital than what is technically offered. And let's take an example about a visual advertisement by Coca-Cola. Visually, Coca-Cola consistently used the elements such as bright red color, smiling faces, and sharing moment. So the visual cues immediately capture the attention and create positive atmosphere. From an affective perspective, the visual evoke the emotion like happiness, togetherness, and nostalgia. This emotion reaction can create a strong positive balance, placing viewer in a good mood while they are exposed to the ad. At the same time, a cognitive response also takes place. Even without detailed product information, consumers infer consistency and accessibility. Visually, Coca-Cola is perceived as easy to choose and socially accepted. The key insight is that visual advertising works best when it triggers the emotion first. So emotion open the door for cognition, memory, and the persuasion. So what is the visual perception? Visual perception refers to how individuals recognize and interpret the visual cue and stimuli in their environment. Perception is based on interaction with the environment and is not merely a direct reflection of reality. Because individual cannot process all incoming stimuli at once, so the perceptual process begins with sensation, but attention is selective. Individuals tend to focus on the visual element that match their interests and provide their satisfaction, while ignoring other. For example, on Spotify, although users see the same interface, their visual perception differ. Spotify used their personalized playlist, album cover, and mood-based visual. A gym goer may notice the high generate and the bold cover, while a casual listener is more likely to notice the trending playlist. And what about the individual Preferences. Visual perception differ across individuals in how quickly they notice visual cues. Visually oriented people tend to process the visual information faster and with less cognitive effort than information from the sound or touch. Some individuals can form internal mental image without external stimuli. Visual perception also vary by gender, particularly in emotional reaction to images. For example, in a Zara fitting room, customers perceive the same visual environment differently. Some immediately notice color, fit, and design detail, while others rely on the mirror of other staff feedback. And what about group preferences? Visual perception also differ across the population groups, as people attend to visual elements differently. Some groups focus on focal object, while others pay more attention to the background object relationship. Groups also differ in color perception, including the sensitivity to color changes and emotional responses to color. Although references vary, blue is generally perceived as calming and is referred across culture. For example, in IKEA advertising, some audience focus on the main product while others notice the background detail, showing that group references shape how visuals are perceived and interpreted. Consumers often use product as symbol to express the self-image. Visual elements such as color, design, shape, and style carry the symbolic meaning and have created an emotional link between consumer and product. Visual symbolism play a crucial role in branding, including the logo, packaging, and advertising currents, as it allows meaning to be communicated without a word. For example, Rolex used the Grau logo as a powerful visual symbol. It represents the status, success, and breadth, enabling the consumer to express social position and personal achievement through visual cue alone. And what is about a visual stimuli in service environment? Service environment are primarily perceived through visual stimuli which trigger both affective responses such as emotion and cognitive responses. According to the SOR model, visual stimuli influence the emotional state, which then lead to approach and avoiding behavior. Key visual stimuli including the layout, lighting, color, design and etc. These stimuli serve two main functions. First, aesthetic, providing sensory pleasure, and second is functional, guiding the customer behavior. For example, in Sephora store, bold design, strong lighting created excitement and also encouraged customer to explore and engage. And architecture elements play an important role in shaping the psychological well-being within the service environment. High selling involves the sense of freedom and openness, encouraging abstract and opening thinking. Wall pattern, such as the curve versus the straight line, influence self-identification and affect how products are perceived. In addition, color and material impart product evaluation and purchase decision. Window also influence the cognition by enhancing the creativity, attention, and product focus. For example, in Uniqlo store, high selling and bright lighting and open layout create a clarity and spaciousness, helping customer process information more efficiently and focus on product quality. And next is about color. Color trigger emotional responses and shape consumer behavior in service environment. Warm colors such as red and yellow increase the attention, energy, and urgency, while cool color like blue and green evoke the calmness, trust, and longer browsing. Although color perception is subjective, it has consistently influenced mood and purchase livelihood. For example, the Decathlon used the dominant blue tones to signal reliability and calmness, while bright sand color apply in promotion zone to capture the attention without overwhelming customer. And the lining direct the attention and shape how a service environment is interpreted. Bright lining increases the alertness, support product handling, and encourage the concrete thinking. While dim lining evoke the emotional responses, imagination, and more indulgent choices. Accent lining highlight the product and increases their engagement, whereas adjustable lining have great seasonal or category-specific effect. For example, Nike used the high contract lining in flagship store. Brightly lit testing zone encouraged the active product trial, while a darker spotlight display elevate the product into performance icon, enhancing the perceived value and emotional impact. And about a visual stimuli in brand product, consumers face constant visual exposure from advertising, digital media, store, and packaging. Vision is the dominant sense in brand product perception. Brand communicate identity through color, design, logo, and packaging. Visual context shape emotion, judgment, and approach behavior, and vision work more effectively when aligned with other sense. For example, Netflix used a black and red palette, bold typography, and dynamic thumbnail to capture the attention, reduce search effort, and increase the engagement. Advertisement and commercial in brand product use the visual stimuli designed to grab the attention and create brand interest. These stimuli operate at two levels, building long-term brand image and generating the short-term sales responses. Although advertisements are often one-way communication, they influence emotion, thought, and behavior through image, color, words, and sound. Emotional appeal can be positive or negative, shaping how messages are processed. For example, the Doe Real Beauty sketch campaigns use a simple documentary style visual to slow viewers down, encourage deeper self-reflection, and create stronger attitude change in brand meaning. And the color communicate brand meaning through learned association and strongly influence the memory recall, brand recognition, and purchase intention. Re- so research show that common color association, like the black signal power and wealth, the red arouse attention and excitement, the blue conveyed confidence and reliability, the gray suggests professionalism, and the yellow express the joy. So, for example, Google used a bright multicolor palette to attract the attention, reduce the perceived complexity, and position the brand as creative, accessible, and user-friendly, encouraging the exploration and the frequent use. So, what about a design? Design capture the attention and shape the first impression through the appearance and shape. So it's a key sensory expression of brand identity, communicating symbolic meanings such as elegant, innovation, or youth. Product shape integrate color, material, texture, logo, and overall form, while good design enhance the sensory pleasure, perceived quality, and memory. Appearance also signal the functional belief, including the durability and technological capability. For example, the Dyson used the transparent part, futuristic form, and bold color accent to visualize the technology and performance, allowing consumers to infer the innovation, durability, and premium quality before the use. Next is about a logo. Logo create association, evoke the positive emotion, and build strong brand recognition. The feeling linked to a logo transfer the brand image and corporate image. Logo function as the visual identity of advertising, helping consumer quickly identify the message sender. They may appear as the symbol, picture, word, or combination, and are often effectively when symbolically linked to the brand meaning. For example, Mercedes-Benz used the three-pointed star to symbolize the dominance of land, sea, and air. Its minimalist and monochrome design communicate the prestige, precision, and engineering excellence, reinforce a premium brand identity. And a brand name is also a core visual cue that enable the fast recognition and convey the association. Established name create an instant mental shortcut while short, easy to pronounce name work best for low-involvement products. Further names are especially common in the high-involvement product as they add the personal meaning and require more cognitive effort from consumer. Effective brand names leverage the familiar people, places, and animal, or even enhance their memorability. For example, Gucci used the founder name to signal authenticity and prestige, creating the strong emotional association that increase their memorability and perceived value. And finally is about packaging. Packaging shapes the product perception through the extrinsic cue, especially when the product itself cannot be directly experienced. Consumers form expectation before consumption based on these visual signals. Packaging is particularly influential at point of purchase, where it attracts attention on credit sale and trigger brand recall for memory. It serves both aesthetic and functional role, including protection, storage, safety, and information. For example, the Toblerone used the distinctive triangular package and bold yellow color to signal the uniqueness and premium quality, making the brand instantly recognizable even before tasting. And that also the end of the chapter 3. Now moving to the chapter 4, sensory principle for sound. The chapter examines how sound work at the individual and cultural level and how auditory cues shape the perception of brand, product, and service environment. It also discussed the strategic use of sound in marketing along with its key benefit and limitation. So with the introduction, sound is a powerful sensory cue that influences consumer behavior, often at a subconscious level. Auditory stimuli including the music, voice and tone, ambient sound, and brand sound. When used strategically, the sound can enhance the brand identity and the customer experience. However, when misused, it may cause the irritation and or sensory overload. For example, TikTok prioritizes sound before visual by using training music and audio hook in the first second, capturing attention instantly and triggering the emotional responses and increases the content recall, sharing, and time spent. So the sound can shape how individuals perceive and experience the environment. Hearing play a key role in expressing the identity and emotion. Because sound is constantly present, is help create emotional connection, support brand recognition, and contribute to memorable experiences. For example, Hollister used loud and upbeat music in youthful playlists in store to instantly convey a sensory identity, creating an energetic atmosphere and reinforcing the brand personality even before product evaluation. And the sound can help individuals understand their environment through auditory perception. Common sound types include the ambient sound, voices, and music, which strongly influence the emotion and attitude. Sounds such as music, jingle, and slogan are processed in the right hemisphere, making them easier to remember. And sound is perceived via the eardrum vibration, and sound intensity is measured in decibel, ranging from whisper to concert. Both sound and silence can attract attention and create expectation. For example, Netflix uses short tandem sound to trigger the instant recognition, the anticipation, and the emotional engagement. And music also play a key role in how people perceive light in the world. It creates meaning by imitating the real sound by forming emotional association with brand, event, and experience. The music consists of three aspects: sound, what is heard; behavior, such as theme or performance; and concept, the social and the cultural interpretation. For brand, music acts as an example label, or an emotional responses are shaped by musical elements like tempo, pitch, and structure through concert. and convention. And what is the auditory perception? Auditory perception refers to how people receive and interpret sound from the environment. Sound travel as way to the ear, help guide daily life, such as making decisions, communicating, and enjoying music. Music can be seen as an emotional language, and each culture develops distinct sound style that reflect its value and identity. For example, here, McDonald's used the unbelievable jingle to create an instant brand recognition, while the sound remained consistent. Cultural context shape how it emotionally interact across society. And the sound music voice strongly influence the emotion, cognition, and identity across culture. Through music, individual can create a mood, express their personality, and communicate value even without a lyric. Research shows that people respond emotionally to music regardless of age, background, or musical training. For example, in the Pepsi Vietnam test survey TVC, festive music and familiar that sound evoke the joy and togetherness, allowing audience to feel shared cultural emotion before fully processing the visual. And about the group preferences, music express the shared emotion and experience within social group. It helps us synchronize the mood and strengthen group identity, especially in ritual, celebration, and social events. Although musical preferences differ across culture, people can still recognize the basic emotions such as joy or sadness in the unfamiliar music. For example, in Coca-Cola World Cup campaign, the crowd chant, the rhythmic clapping, and upbeat music unite the diverse fan groups, conveying the excitement and passion, while reinforce the feeling of unity and collective celebration. And the sound symbolism explains how sound evoke meaning and emotion. Music is used to create a mood, express sound image, attitude, and value, and also auditory stimuli often affect the individual faster and more deeply than visual cue. Emotional reaction to sound can occur even without a prior experience or context, highlighting its symbolic power. For example, Vinamilk Vương cao Việt Nam jingle used the rising tone, open vowel, and collective voices to symbolize the growth, the unity, and aspiration, making the message easy to feel, remember, and trust. And the more service environment use the music, sound, and voice to create an attractive atmosphere. Auditory stimuli influence customer mood, emotion, and behavior, and well-matched the sound can increase the time spent and purchase intention. For example, Vietnam Airlines used consistent cabin announcement voice, service tone, and branded sound cue to create a sense of safety, professionalism, and trust throughout the customer journey. And about the in-store music. In-store music influence the service quality perception and product evaluation. The calm, the slow music improves the focus and decision making, while fast and exciting music increases the arousal, but may reduce the attention during the service encounter. Background music shifts the attitude toward the store, the staff, and product, and should align with the brand contact. For example, the Abercrombie and Fitch used the loud, fast-paced music to create an energetic and trendy atmosphere, reinforcing a youthful brand image and encouraging the quick, excitement-driven shopping behavior. Moving to the next part about the shopping experience in the service environment. Foreground music such as popular hits and background music like the instrumental track can increase the time spent in store compared to silent. And music familiarity also matter as shoppers respond more positively to music they usually listen to, while unfamiliar music may reduce the comfort. And for example, IKEA used the calm and familiar background music to slow the shopping pace, reduce stress in the crowded area, and encourage the customer to spend more time exploring display. For the service level, Background music improves the customer emotional evaluation of waiting and service encounter. It creates a positive emotion, reduce the frustration, and lower the emotional and social cost of waiting. Overall, the background music helps customers feel calmer and behave more positively towards service staff. For example, HSBC Bank used the soft background music in the bank franchises and to reduce the stress during waiting times, creating a calmer atmosphere and improving the customer attitude toward the frontline employee. Moving to the next part about the music coherence. Music coherence refer to how well ambient music fits the service environment, interior design, and brand character. When music is coherent, it creates the pleasant emotion, improve the perceived service quality, and enhance the overall customer experience. A well-matched music environment also increases the positive attitude and customer intention to revisit. For example, Apple used the minimalist and modern music in its store to align with its clean design and innovative brand image, creating a pleasant atmosphere and higher customer satisfaction. The music can be used as a behavioral control tool in service environment. Certain music chains, like the classical or opera, might create a feeling of discomfort or non-belonging, discouraging the unwanted group from staying in the area. Through sensory cue, music influences the emotion and behavior, helping reduce the loitering, crime, or the antisocial behavior. For example, 7-Eleven in some urban area play classical music outside the store at night to deter loitering and creating a calmer and safer environment for customer and the staff. And in branding, auditory stimuli such as the music, voices, and sound logo are used to create a memorable and the distinctive brand experiences. This sound cue can help communicate brand identity, values, and image, often even more effectively than visual elements. Brand sound can be natural, like product noises, or invented, such as jingle or sonic logo. Through the sound, brand can influence cognition, emotion, and the purchase behavior, especially in advertising and digital environment. For example, Intel created iconic Intel Inside Sound logo, an invented auditory cue used consistently across app and device setup. This sound signal the innovation, reliability, and technological quality. In advertising, music plays a key role in shaping emotion and mood, which directly influence the consumer attitude toward the brand and product. Fast-paced music tends to attract more attention, while slow music can often receive the less cognitive focus. Importantly, music message coherence improve the message processing. So overall music function as a meaningful emotional language, creating the hedonic feeling that enhance the brand preference. For example, Nike used the fast and powerful music in its advertising to create the excitement and motivation, aligning perfectly with their just do it message and strengthening the emotional connection with consumer. And with the context of the music in product evaluation. Background music influence how customers evaluate the product, even unrelated attribute. Product tends to be referred when they are associated with the liked music. Music affect the mood, which in turn shape their perceived product quality. And the effect is strongest when customers are not consciously aware that music is influencing their mood. For example, both use the carefully selected pleasant background music in showroom to create a positive mood and leading customers to evaluate the speaker as higher quality and better performing. And what about a music embodiment? Music embodiment means the music trigger emotion through the rhythm, tempo, pitch, and instrument based on the past experience. These feelings are often automatic and subconscious of the current context. Fast-paced and high-pitched music generally create a more positive emotion than slow music, and brand can be imported through the music, shaping how advertising messages are felt and understood. For example, Disney used the emotionally charged familiar melody in its film and advertising to evoke their childhood memory, happiness, and nostalgia. And about the voices in advertising. The tone and the speech rate are key vocal elements shaping credibility and persuasion. Low tone voices are perceived as more credible, calm, and empathetic. Clear, loud pronunciation and phonetic repetition of brand name can improve the brand evaluation. A faster speech rate signals intelligence and confidence. Combining a low tone with a faster speech rate can often create the most positive listener response. For example, BMW used the deep and the low-tone male voiceover with a confident, relatively fast pitch rate in its commercial to signal the authority, technical expertise, and premium performance. And the last one is the sound symbolism in brand and product. Sound symbolism means the sound that shape how products are perceived, and current sound that match the product benefit lead to more positive evaluation. Product sound can act as a part of brand identity, signaling the quality, power, and pleasure. An unpleasant sound can signal the power or function, but might also reduce the user satisfaction. For example, the brand about the coffee machine, Nespresso, leveraged the sound of its coffee machine during the brewing to signal the precision, freshness, and premium quality. Using sound symbolism to enhance the product evaluation and reinforce the brand perception. And that is also the end of the sensory marketing presentation about the chapter 3 and chapter 4. Thank you for listening.